the glorious summertime. Wow! One thing about the northern and southern hemispheres, but of course we've got a whole lot more countries up in the northern hemisphere. You know, we get these seasons, and so we have a lot to be grateful for when the spring finally breaks through, and then we get some beautiful, gorgeous summer days. Oh wow! As opposed to living between the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn, where you don't get seasons other than rainy season, dry season, and it just doesn't have the glory. And so, you know, I think for me, the ideal thing to do is to hibernate a bit like a bear. And so I think what I'm going to start to do with all of my winters is just to concentrate on writing, because it's difficult to do this time of year when there's so much glory to be had. I can't sit in front of a computer when all this is going on. It's not possible. But of course in the winter time, when there's nothing else really to do, well, it's perfect, isn't it? So what am I saying here? I'm saying that we utilise whatever we consider to be bad or negative or lacking utility. Oh, it's winter time, what can you do? Well, you can do that. Or what I used to do, I used to really concentrate heavily on playing my guitar. And so, you know, I've always capitalised on whatever hand I've been given. And my old man told me how to do this when I was a kid. He said, look, you know, life's like, you know, being dealt, let's say a coin. On the one side of it, you've got X, but don't forget that on the other side, you've got Z. And so there's always two sides to every coin, two edges to every sword, polarities to everything. And so let's not get too myopic in our thinking. Let's expand our state of consciousness and see what else we can bring out of those negative facets. Now, this leads me on to a really, really important conversation, which I'll just touch on a little bit before I move on to the next conversation. And it's never shy away from what you may consider to be negative experiences, because there are no real negative experiences. There is only ever opportunity to learn and grow. And you'll all know that if you don't feel self-pity and don't apportion blame to the world, you'll always find something within you to glean knowledge and wisdom out of whatever so-called negative energy comes to meet you in life. And even in the most of tragic of things, you know, there's something to derive from it, something to come out of it, some essence of God to get closer to, because it makes us more full and rounded, and it humbles us in many respects, and it enlightens us, and all different sorts of things. So for those of you that are, you know, you're not the healthiest, you don't have the brightest of minds, you don't have the most wonderful relationships, and your jobs are something to be desired, well, there must be something in there which you can find if you open up your hearts and minds to it by a level of acceptance of what your situation is, and then look around you and see what's good. And you know, years ago I used to work with the lower echelons of society in relation to education, people that never had college degrees and, you know, all this sort of thing, working in the building trade. Now, I always used to want to work in the building trade because I liked being active. I liked, you know, creating. I liked to have a right good workout all through every day of my life. and then I'd still work out in the evening times. So I was unstoppable in the early days, but I needed to do that sort of stuff. And I used to sometimes, lift my nose up because the people I was working with, they lacked an education. But then I decided, well, let me get into the salt of the earth. Let me, instead of rebuking them and dismissing them, let me see if I can open them up and learn something about their childhood and their youth and their facets and perspective of life. And I was always very surprised, and I always had to keep myself in check that I was wrong. I was wrong in dismissing these people. I was wrong in judging them. And there's something to learn from everybody. So, because I opened myself up to them and I inquired, I used to have lots of conversations which I never would have had if I had that dismissive, separatist sort of attitude. Yeah, so embrace all situations, people. That's what I'm saying. Embrace everything and look for the gold, because at the end of the day, life is like panning for gold or precious gemstones, isn't it? You gotta sift through a lot of shit before you come to something which we may consider more meaningful and worthwhile. But at the end of the day, life is the journey, isn't it? Sifting through the shit. You see, I went panning for gold in Australia, and I went fossicking for precious gemstones in Australia also, opals, and panning all day under the fierce sun, looking for these little sparks of whatever it was. Well, that's what we're doing in life. We're looking for these little sparks of something more that adds to our lives. But you see, we need to travel that journey to find them, because if we don't spend hundreds of hours panning, or how many hours do we spend digging and tilling and weeding our gardens and fertilizing the soils just for a few months in the year when we're going to reap something out of it, and then they get attacked by bugs and slugs and all different sorts of things. It's a fight, people. But we've got to enjoy the fight, and that's the thing. It's like boxers, it's all well and good being world champion, but it's all about the training. It's all about that level of fitness. It's all about the eye of the tiger. It's all about the tenacity and the determined mindset that we have, which enables us to do that. And then that will rub off on people around us, and we will employ or deploy that in most realms of our lives. And so we'll benefit from that throughout our lives. It's more than the world champion belt, that's what I'm saying. And so, one of the last videos I put up yesterday, I'm asking, so guys, you've been with me a long time, what do you make of the show so far? What changes have you seen, and what have you learned? And share a bit of your growth with me. And initially there were 60 hits on that video, 1 comment and 3 thumbs up. And this one comment said, wow, I'm really fucking surprised you haven't got more comments, this and the other. And I'm like, yeah, nobody's more surprised than me, trust me. I've been banging on about this for a decade. But then when there's 150 views on it, there's a whole lot more. And so maybe what people were doing is they were watching the video initially whilst they were busy or doing things or driving home from work and all that sort of thing. And then when they got settled and had time to contemplate, quite a few of you wrote lengthy appraisals stating how you consider that the channel has changed, how you've changed, how I've changed, how we've changed together, the journey we've been through, those of you that are new viewers, we, the original Awakened Braves, have been through an enormous amount. From the very get-go, I was into the phenomenon of astral projection, leaving the body. That is a big deal. Trust me, when you do it, it's a big deal. And then I don't know, the natural progression, I suppose, was like meditation, learning how to meditate. That then became a big deal. And then through the meditation and the out-of-body experiences, it's kind of like I was intrigued into more things, and so then started looking deeper into psychology and philosophy and dabbling in many other realms, which led, you know, to entheogen experiences with mushrooms and DMT and the Mandela effect, synchronicity, law of attraction, urine therapy, you know, drinking my own piss for 6 weeks to see what happened, all different sorts of diets, a whole bunch of things that we went through. And many of my viewers and friends at the time, we were doing this stuff together, and we were having lots of chats, like I'm tentatively attempting to do these days. But I suppose the subject matter is more dense, is certainly a good deal more esoteric, and people need a whole lot more experience before they're going to engage with those subjects. But if anybody's feeling that, oh damn, you know, where's those, you know, lost videos? Well, I've got them all on hard drive, or a good number of them in any case. But I can say things better now. And most of what I touched upon in the early days, I've spoken about in some depth in the book. And so I start from the very beginning of my spiritual meltdown, with the ego implosion, and then the long journey of 14 years and all the stuff that I came upon. It's all in the book, and so you can reminisce from the book, for those of you that you know, remember those encounters, and for those of you that weren't around then you can get a good idea of where we have been, where we've come from. And through that book, by the way, there's been 52 copies purchased now, so 52 of you, which is quite an astronomical number really, because what that means is about 50% of my regular viewers, because if you look at the hits on my videos, then averagely it's about 100, and so 50%, that is a superb number. All of you now have the world's first spiritual Bible sitting on your bookshelves with the other great literature exhibits that you've treasured on your journey. And so this one, you can flick through it a bit like an encyclopedia to subject matter, or you can follow the whole journey through. So that's the beauty of it, because there are, you know, 300 sub chapters, and so there's a lot of information there, and so you can just slip through to Dark Night of the Soul, astral projection, the notion of God, deep meditation experiences, entheogens, and a whole array of human experience that I share with you. And so what I'm saying is that those of you that are reading that book, like one of the viewers said, underscore poignant parts. So if you ever come to speak with me, then you can speak about them and you can reflect upon what that meant to you. And I'm starting to have these conversations now because people have, you know, managed to read a few chapters, and so that's what we're doing. And that is a level of involvement, because it's not just about what I have experienced in that book. It's about what you've experienced in a similar realm. That's what it's about. It's about the comparison and the conjoining of these supernatural paranormal experiences. And for those that haven't had any, well, you know, I show you how to have them. I show you in the finest of detail how to have out-of-body experiences. The finest of detail how to meditate and to have those experiences. Then I speak about, you know, all the entheogen, the different varying levels of dose and experience. And so there's just, you know, a world of information there. And it gives rise to opportunity for people to get engaged again, to reminisce through, yeah, I first came upon your videos through the transcendental meditation videos, or I first came upon them through the astral world, and this, that and the other. And so, you know, you can speak about your stories. Did you ever manage to do it? What did you get out of meditation? You know, did you ever find these different astral realms? You know, what's your experience been? Because, as I said in one of the comments, it can be pretty insular, being the awake and brave for people. When I'm banging out copious amounts of very meaningful content, and it's falling on dead ears, deaf ears, dead spirits, dead souls, and it's perfectly reasonable for me to start demeaning and ranting if I'm not getting anything. People are still watching, but I'm not getting anything. There's something wrong. There has to be something wrong in the psyche that doesn't enable them, allow them to get involved. Where my channel is about being fucking free. Just be free, just say it, just do it. But so many people seem to be captivated by the social norms and the suppression. What if people think this? What if people think that? And all this different sorts of stuff. So I've been going into the post office, which is just over the road from me, and I was chatting with the postal manager, and have been, you know, for several years, even though I never really had much of a course to go in. But when I have, he's always been interested. And I told him I've got these books and I'm sending. And he's all interested, and he wanted to check out, you know, on Amazon. Then I told him that I'm speaking to my people and I'm actually selling these books via my YouTube channel. What's the name of that? And so then I told him. But then when I told him, I kind of had a bit of a reservation, because he's going to know maybe more than he wanted to about me. And I don't have him down for being religious. He's kind of like Indian origin, and so if he is religious, then it's going to be probably, you know, Hindu. And I've got you know, a lot of time for their religions. But you know, if he had have been Muslim or Christian, then coming upon my channel and the things that I say probably wouldn't have been taken too favourable. So I kind of like have reservations of giving people close to me my YouTube channel, because they wouldn't understand. They just wouldn't get it, because all they know about me is that, you know, I'm some dude that comes into the post office or the gym and I'm a bit chatty and you know, got funny hair and beard. But then when they go onto the channel, it's kind of like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? It will blow their socks off. And so, you know, but then I think to myself, that's not my problem. It's not my socks that are getting blown off. And if their socks get blown off and they consider it a detriment, well, they've got to work on that. If their socks get blown off and they are, you know, blown into a new dimension of consciousness, well, I did them a great favour, didn't I? And then they'll become an awakened brave. So, the thing is not to be constrained, because there's always someone out there that's going to want to bring us down and contain us and cancel us and tell us that we can't say this and we can't do that. You know, and you guys don't know, because I don't allow these people through on the channel. But, you know, I get quite a lot of hateful Christians that are, you know, proclaiming that don't listen to this man, he's evil, he's the devil, and good God, all this ridiculous stuff. I don't want that filth on my channel. But when Christians or, you know, believers of some religion come on and they speak in a sensible, respectful way and pose questions as to why I say what I do, I will explain in the greatest of detail possible for me to do that. And so it's you know, this channel is for open-minded people, and you know, I know that many of you have had an issue with things I've said, but you say that, well, you know, there's more good stuff than bad. Sometimes I find this objectionable, or I don't agree with that. Well, nobody's ever going to agree with everything, but one thing you should all be agreeing with is the freedom to have our own perspective and the freedom of speech. Which of course has been stifled quite a lot on YouTube in recent years, and so I suppose ultimately I'll have to go somewhere else, because our comments are disappearing, aren't they? And you know, some people may think that I'm blocking the comments. I will never block any comment that is sensible and respectful. I'm only going to block haters, because there's no point in them being on the channel. All they want to do is try and contaminate and you know, build up a little bit of an entourage and get the focus on them, you know, because they are seeking the limelight and they're trying to steal my thunder. All different sorts of psychological things go on, people. And when you have a YouTube channel, you come upon it all. So yeah, it's been very refreshing to have people's perspectives. And lots of people have put a lot of time into writing a lot of stuff. So I would, you know, appeal to you all to go back and read the comments of what people have said about their experience with the Awake and Brave channel. And then you'll see the depth of where we're coming from. And so over and above that then, the golden years, like somebody suggested, have come and gone, and that's the nature of all things. There is a golden period where there's a vibrancy on the channel and lots of people are engaged and lots of people are flocking. It's like the summer of love in the 60s, you know, everyone flocked to San Francisco. Well, there was a lot of that going on the channel, and at one stage I had 16,500 subscribers in a relatively short period of time. But over the years, many channels have been taken down by YouTube, and I've took an equal amount down myself, becoming disenchanted, you know, with the way things were, and all sorts of things. But now, I feel that we're moving into another dimension again. You see, the Awake and Brave channel has always been multifaceted and multidimensional. So we're moving into another dimension now. And albeit the dimension is pretty esoteric, is pretty out there for most people, there is an opportunity for you to share if you've had anything out there. Because how many people tell me, oh, there's nobody in my whole vicinity, my family, my friends, who I can have conversations like this with. You're the only one Awake and Brave. Or maybe there's a couple of other channels which kind of like a little bit like that. But it's a rare platform. And so if you've had trauma, if you've had crazy, supernatural, paranormal, spiritual experiences, if you've encountered the devil or God, Jesus, astral beings, whatever, well, this is a platform where you can share that stuff. And, you know, I'd be all ears if somebody wants to come and speak to me about these experiences. Because the only other place that I can get something similar from is by reading, you know, books which are over 100 years old, you know, William James's religious experiences. And then even if I go on to YouTube and I look for something similar, then you get people speaking about near-death experience and astral projection, but the details are so scant. Everything they say is just so bereft of any of the detail that I need. I need details. You can't just be telling me, oh, I've had a near-death experience and I met God. Oh, it's wonderful. It's amazing, you know, when you die, it's not the end. Oh, anyway, bye. You know, got to go and bake the bread now. No. Sorry, that didn't work for me. I don't know who it would work for, but it didn't work for me. So you need to find a little bit more time, be a little bit more contemplative, and maybe sketch down a few outlines of what you want to say, and then come back and do it again. If that video is going to be of any use to anybody, we need the details. And so, of course, on the Wake and Pray channel, you've always had the details. As many as there was, I've given them to you, from as many different facets of any situation that I have faced or been presented with. So that was, you know, a good response so far on the video. It's not even been up 24 hours. So I suppose, you know, over the weekend, then there may be an equal amount again of people speaking. People that have come out of the woodwork who I haven't heard from for years. And, you know, when I've got 100, 200 hits on the videos and 3 comments, I'm like, who the fuck are you guys? Who the fuck are you? And then you're sitting there and you're like, ooh, should I tell him who I am? I've been watching now for fucking 8 years and I've never said anything. Should I tell him? Oh, come on, people. Just fucking behave. That's what I'm saying, behave. And just say a little bit of something. Cool video. I like that. More of that. Oh, that's a curious video. Wow, that one got me thinking anything. Just a couple of fucking words. Trust me. It'll work for us, it'll work for the channel. And if you appreciate the channel, then give something back. That's what I'm saying, people. And buy the fucking book. And it's not like I need the money, because I don't need the money. I was just reading an excerpt from the Second Coming of Christ, and every single page of that I've said is incredible. And what it says, look, if you have the light and you don't speak about it to your fellow man and you don't try to raise them up, in the day of reckoning you are not going to be sitting alongside the Lord or held in that highest regard, because you haven't done your job. You haven't done what you're obliged to do, which is to raise up your fellow man who weren't as fortunate and as blessed as you. So that's what I've been doing unconsciously all these years. I'm telling you, I'm not doing it for any personal gain. I'm doing it because it's my job. And it's just how it is. But then reading things like that, that's when I get my reward, you see. I get my reward by listening to super intelligent, awakened, enlightened beings telling me that I must be enlightened, also because I'm doing exactly what they tell us to do, what they recommend. And so many people don't do it. I'm doing it. I'm up there. I'm with them. And that kind of brings about a bit of a glow inside, to be fair, people. And so then I forgive all you guys for not commenting, and it doesn't really matter if you don't ever comment for the rest of your lives, because that 1 or 2 lines from in that book, that gave me all I need. Now I'm going to go forth and enlighten the world. But first, I just got to go and pump up my muscles, because the body is telling me to do that, and that's also my job. Bye.